going up, we're going forward, doing it every day. The Pierre Way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day. The Pierre Way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day. The Pierre Way. We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day. The Pierre Way.
What's up, family? It's Robe
and Meima.
and this is the Pierre Way podcast.
Yes.
We're excited to bring you another episode today. We hope you guys are good.
Yeah, I hope everybody's doing good. It's chilly.
Chilly
Got
day.
a little cold. I got a little cold situation.
Got a little
myself.
situation?
Yeah.
How'd you sleep last night, baby?
I slept okay. Not too shabby.
Not too
Yeah,
shabby.
how about you?
I slept well. We're dealing with RJ, just thinking that he runs the house.
Mm-hmm.
So,
5 a.m. praise.
For those of you who don't know, RJ is our 2-year-old, and he's our miracle baby.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to bed at the same time everybody goes to bed, but he wakes up firmly at 5.
Without fail.
5:30 without fail.
Yeah, without fail.
And he beelines to our room.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so imagine like, I know every parent can relate to this. Imagine like you sleeping and then all you feel
In the dark.
and all you feel is a being next
Just
to your
staring. But now he's like, mommy, 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 mommy. And if you don't answer, he'll walk around, daddy, daddy. But nothing's like, at least he's over the phase where he used to come downstairs, go in the snack drawer.
Oh my goodness.
He's over that phase because before he used to just wake up,
Go straight downstairs.
go in the snack drawer, and you would just wake up and you would hear crumbling. You'd be sleeping and you hear crumbling
Because
next
he
to
can't open it.
next to your ears.
He's like,
And
open it.
he physically can't open the muffin thing. So all you hear is wrappers just crumbling. And I'm like, what? And it's him standing there like shaking it in front of
Yeah.
you. Like, snack.
No, I'm glad that
snack.
phase was over because that phase
phase
was
is
annoying.
over.
Yeah.
Now we just got to figure out how to get him to like
Keep him in his bed.
maybe a later bedtime, but I don't know if I'm ready to give up.
Nah. Because the thing I learned about kids is that no matter how late they go to bed, they still gonna wake up at the same time
That's
every
really
day. So you might
terrible.
as well go to bed at bedtime.
That's really terrible.
So
Well, this is a good story because today's episode is all about parenting.
parenting gems
is all about parenting. And
Parenting gems.
we're in the thick of it. Listen, by no means are we experts.
Okay.
First off.
We just in the game.
We just got in
Okay?
the game. We are 7 years into
Right.
parenting. And but I think it's a great thing for us to talk about because millennials and whether, there are our audience just they're parenting.
Yeah.
Or
Aspiring
to be parents. And I think just the notion of parenting is something that any and every single person can relate to.
Yeah.
Whether it's about your parents, whether it's about the way you want to raise your children, and if you are currently raising children. And the more I think about it, I don't know if there's a ton of content that is talking to millennial parents. I mean,
Well, I think there's a lot of content. Like, there's content definitely for like mommies.
Yeah.
So like specifically like sleep training, like how to get on a feeding schedule.
You would
breast
find that
pumping.
content.
Oh, of course. Like, absolutely. So like there's that type of stuff. And I think there's a lot of content around like the realities of parenting, right? So like definitely people are more vocal around like what parenting is like in everyday life, how it's chaotic, how you have toys everywhere, how like kids are screaming and yelling. But there's not much content around like just advice and like things that you can do and practice as you're learning how to parent.
Yeah.
There's not much of that. I feel like you have to really search for it hard, or because we're in 2023, it feels like so out of date almost.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel like relevant or real for our day and age. So yeah, would love to share with everybody just some tips and some things that we've learned along the way. And if y'all have stuff, please
let us
share
know. We are a
because
village.
We are actively learning. It takes a village,
It
and your
does.
village is like your family, your friends, your community, but
You
also
guys.
the online community, people who you meet. And there's so many people who I like will walk by in Target,
Yeah.
and like let's say the kids are like going crazy, and they'll be like, "Trust me, I get it." Like, and then they'll just drop a gem.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that is community right there of just knowing how to navigate the parenting lifestyle and just how to do it. So
Absolutely.
So what are some things, babe, that you would like? Let's just like popcorn it. What are some things that we would say have been helpful for us that we think are
Everybody who's come to our house or even our family and friends, they always say this is like, and I don't think we valued it as much, but like we were like, now it's like maybe there is something to this, is the fact that our kids have a schedule.
No, that's so real.
Everybody's like, yo, your kids have a schedule. I remember before we moved, we had this board that we painted with like a whiteboard type of vibe. And what ended up happening was that we would have their whole schedule for the day. This was like, I think maybe during the pandemic.
I think it was mostly the pandemic where we really started integrating that.
And so a schedule is so important. Yeah. And I've noticed like our kids, they reinforce their schedules. Like whenever we take them away from their schedule, they don't really know how to act. They'd
because kids are creatures of habit. Yeah. So like the more often anything, good and bad, the more often they do something, like when it comes out of their routine, they're going to be like, what's happening? Like, this is what we do.
Like our schedule is pretty like consistent. Yeah. They know what's happening when they're waking up. Yeah. They know what's happening before they go to school. They go to school, they come home. They know they got to shower as soon as they get here. They know dinner's coming. They know it's bedtime. Yeah. And so it's one of those things that has helped the order in our house. And I think with 3 kids, it's order is important. Yeah. And just being able to keep the peace, being able to keep a good atmosphere, being able to clean, to keep a clean house. It's just like, that's really important. Yeah. And just the fact that, you know, our 2 oldest, like they have a cleaning schedule, you know, Robin cleans on Monday, Jamie cleans on Tuesday. They got their chores, like all of those scheduled things. Like they know what Sundays look like. They know what church looks like. Just having a schedule and being consistent with it, it allows the kids to kind of help you as well. Yeah. In getting some things done. Yeah. So that's my thing.
Kind of added to the schedule, I would say another parenting gem is make sure you incorporate time, like family time. Yeah. So like, for example, we do family days. Yes. And it's so important for us because like right now, all 3 of our kids are in school. Like Robin's in 1st grade, Jamie and RJ are at daycare preschool, and we're like at work during the day or we're running around doing things. And so we have a traditional come home by 6, have the dinner, then put them to bed, and then we start all over again Monday through Friday. And then we have our weekends where we have church and like just other family commitments and things of that nature. And so we made it a point to just make sure that, I think at the time we did it once a month, to have family days where like we just spend the whole day together as a family. Sometimes we'd go out. Sometimes we'd just be home, like cuddled up on the couch watching movies. Yeah. Sometimes we would go see family, but it was just uninterrupted time, like away from ministry, from work, from just anything else going on in life for us to spend time as a family. And it's so important because the hustle and bustle of everyday life makes it difficult for you to be able to have those touch points with your kids, especially as they grow older. I found that like when our kids were like 3 and under, it was easy to always hang out with them and be around them because it was just, whenever it's convenient, you know, like, we're hanging out on the couch in the afternoon. They weren't really like on a rigid school schedule per se. But now that our kids have like this very rigid schedule, we never want for them to just be in the ebbs and flows of school, home. And like, there's no time for us to connect, no time for us to laugh together, no time for us to just have casual conversation. So another parenting gem I would say is just make sure you incorporate family time. Uninterrupted family time.
Yeah. I think, and for those of us that have multiple children, here's something that I enjoy. And I haven't necessarily seen much of the fruit, but I know it's seed that's like really, really good and rich. Like, I really enjoy personal conversations with each of my kids. Yeah. Like, when I'm putting them to bed, I speak to their soul. I speak to their fears. I speak to their dreams and just who I see that God is, developing them to be. Yeah. And I do that weekly. Like having that point where it's just being able to see them. So our middle child, she's really big on, do you see me? Yeah. And so when I put Jamie to bed, I will get in the bed with her and I will tell, baby, tell me about your day. Like, how's it going, et cetera. I'll make sure I do that. Yeah. And then I tell her all the time, like, Jamie, do you know God's going to use you to change the world? Yeah. She's like, what, Daddy? I'm going to change the world? I'm like, yeah, you're going to change the world. Oh, she's so like, what should I change it to? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, I think I want to change it to purple. Oh, my God. It's just the funniest thing. But it's like, I want to keep telling her that. Yeah. Because I know that me telling her that that's a seed.
Yeah.
And when she grows to realize what I'm actually saying, how she will apply those personal moments is like, it's really, really, it's really good. And so just those moments where in their childhood that you can really speak to who they are. Like our 7-year-old is big on comparing herself to other people right now. And so like I'm telling her, you know, God made you perfect just the way you are. You're beautiful. You're all this. And so it's like it strengthens the connection. Yeah. Especially with my girls. RJ, he just punches me in the face.
Oh my
like,
gosh.
Daddy, put me down.
Is a true little boy.
He's like,
okay,
Daddy, stop hugging me.
That boy one day, I'd be nervous he's gonna jump out the window. Like I just like Lord.
Listen, he's just like, I'm like, RJ, I love you. He's like, yeah. Like,
do you know that?
Put me down. He's like, put me down. But the girls are now in such a space with that. So regardless of when they misbehave, regardless of how disobedient they may be for the day, etc. But having some touch points weekly where you're speaking into their soul and into their dreams and into their future, into their character, I found that to be huge. Like I say, our kids are young, so I don't know what the fruit of that is going to be, but I just know that it feels good. And it's something that I wish like I had growing up more of. So I'm like, you know what? I can't wait to see what those conversations do within them and their future.
Yeah. I think the saying is the days are long, but the years are short.
Oh wow!
And so,
ooh, that's good.
People tell me everyone around me who's obviously like had children and all that. They basically say that is they're only. Our pastor says to me all the time. She's always like, your kids are only going to be this age once. And so,
shouts out to Pastor Mona.
Yes, like shout outs to her because that just keeps running in my brain as they get older. It's like Robin's only going to be 7 once. Jamie's only going to be 4 once. Arch is going to only be 2 once. And so it's like you really just want to savor those moments. You want to savor every single second of it, the good and the bad. And so I guess a parenting gem there would just be safe, like take in every moment for what it is. The days are hard. We have a lot of days where it's hard to parent. We're tired. We're fatigued. We feel like they're not listening to us or misbehaving. Life all around us is chaotic. And so it's just so important every day to make a decision and a choice to just savor the moment, savor the hugs and the cuddles, you know, like savor up those intimate moments in bed when you get to talk and speak into them, like savor up the moment, the car rides to and from school, taking in all of that. Yeah.
Memories, man.
Those memories.
I'm huge.
Oh my goodness.
And I do not apologize.
Y'all,
for
Robe literally takes pictures all the time. It's
everywhere.
So, like,
I got my Polaroid. We're going out. I got my
like
Polaroid. They're doing something funny. I'll pull out a phone. Listen, y'all, at some point, I'm going to be 85. Yeah. I will be old and I'm going to just have an iPhone. I'm just going to be scrolling. They're going to be,
you think you'll have an iPhone at 85?
Living their life. What?
You think you'll have an iPhone at 85?
I don't care what it's going to be. A Z phone, a H phone, a Cyclone 3000 phone. I don't care what it's going to be. But I know what I'm going to have is the memories that I have in my heart and mind. And I'm also going to have things to show, you know, just this is when we went this place, is when we went that place.
I want to add to that. So this is kind of shifting gears a little bit. This is the mommy in me. You're going to know what I'm going to say.
You know, I know what you're talking about.
So I as a mom, I too, like, you know, had the babies, taking the pictures of them and everything. And it was great. But I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's something I saw online or if it's something someone said.
No, you were looking for pictures.
Yes.
You were looking for pictures.
I was looking for pictures of me with the kids. And y'all, I barely could find any.
She couldn't find any.
And I was like, I am not in any of these pictures.
So to just give context to it, when we are doing family things and going out, Meima is big about the moment.
Yes.
She is like, so it's not like she's absent.
Right.
It's just that she is living it. She doesn't care about her phone. She wants to be in the park, on the swing with her kids. She wants to run around with them. She's there in the moment. I'm trying to capture the memories.
Yes.
So I'm like, okay, go on the swing. Cool. Say cheese. Come give daddy a hug. And like, say cheese. Let's do a video together and all of that. But while I'm doing that with one of them, Meima is running around with somebody else. So then when the moments are done, it's like, I'm in bed and I'm like looking at the videos. And
he's like, oh,
I'm like,
so
oh, this is
and
great.
Like,
this is all good.
Those pictures.
And she's like, well, I'm in none of them. And I'm like, baby, you got to do a better job at taking pictures.
I do.
But it's like, the reason is because they're going to have great memories. Yeah. They're going to remember, like, y'all, Meima be like, when she be running around the house playing dress up with these kids. She be like,
y'all, they be doing my makeup.
Rolling.
I be doing their makeup.
She lets them do her makeup. It's like she's in it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think there's a beauty in that.
Yeah.
Because I know I get on my kids' nerves when I'm like, stand over there, take this picture. Like, here's this video.
I want y'all to know the last vacation when y'all was like, oh, y'all giving the looks. It was not pretty. The behind the scenes was real rough.
I was like, y'all not gonna move and go to the beach unless I get a good picture. So smile and laugh. I'm that parent until we get it. And I think it's like, I think those both. I think both of them is important. I think.
Yeah.
I think the other piece of it is too, y'all. It's like I barely got a dozen. I don't even have 12 pictures from my childhood.
Yeah.
I don't have a dozen pictures from my childhood. Like I can count, and the pictures. I can count on one hand the pictures that I do have.
Yeah. And I have like, you go to my mom's and dad's house all the time.
Oh my God,
I have
Mima's,
like albums,
tons.
of
Mima's
pictures.
father is amazing with this. It's like tons of videos, albums. Like the other day, he sent you like a report card or something
from like second grade. I was like, Dad,
and she still has it. They've moved like 10 times since then, and I think that's just so beautiful.
It is really cool.
So I think part of being a parent is that you want to give your kids what you feel like you yearned for.
Right.
As a child and you didn't have.
Right.
And so sometimes we can overdo it because
That's
we're
true.
compensating for ourselves.
Which is not good, right?
Which is not good. But then it also is good because I don't want you to go through the pain that I went through.
Right.
I don't want you to have the lack
Right.
that I had and I had to overcome. I want to give it to you because I want my ceiling to be your floor.
Yeah.
You know
And so
what I'm saying?
to kind of go off of that, I would say, and this is something I think we're actively, as our kids are getting older, we're actively learning, is while we're trying to give our kids the things that we didn't have that are good, we also are learning to give our kids space to have their own journey.
Yeah.
That's been really tough for us.
Good.
And I'll just use Robin. Robin's like really the big example for me, at least. So Robin's in first grade and she just went through a lot of changes, right? She was in a new grade. She went to a new school, right? She actually this past summer went to camp, which was something we've never done before.
Right.
We never did camp before.
Right.
And like doing camp, we're like, what is that? And
Well,
so,
I did camp. I got kicked out.
Oh.
No, go ahead.
Wow.
Story for another day. Story for another day.
In any case, Robin's just growing up. And I'm at the space as a parent, and I don't think it's just a mommy thing. I think it's any parent can be this way, where I'm trying to let her grow up, but I'm still holding on because I'm like, that's still my baby.
Yeah.
But it's tough because it's like she has to grow up. And you have been you've been telling me this a lot lately. The past couple of months, it's like you got to give her space to grow. Like she has to have her own journey.
That is so funny because
Like,
today I dropped Robin off at school. And we were like, they're walking in to close the door.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm telling her, oh, they're about to close the door. We made
run.
it. So I beep and she's out and they close the door.
Yeah.
So
wait, she was late for school today?
Oh no, not really. She was fine. She wasn't late. She was fine. So I was like, oh, just knock. The lady just went in there. Like she's literally like 10 steps behind the lady that goes to close the door.
Okay.
So she was there. So, but I guess the lady didn't hear her.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, babe, I'll just drop you off at the other drop off in the front.
Okay.
She gets in the car and she's like, Daddy, have you leave me here? I would have knocked on every single door to get in school because I was going to get in. I was like, girl, that's right. You your daddy's girl. You good. I was like, Daddy was not going to leave you until he saw you going to the school. However, I'm glad that you, like, she's like, I'm not going to stand out here. Like, she's like, Daddy, I would have went to all the doors and banged on it until somebody let me in. I was like, and that's like, part of giving her that independence. And it's like sometimes as a parent we want to give them everything so they don't have to do nothing. And so they can kind of flourish. But the reason why we flourish is because we had to figure some things out on our own.
I know. And it's just hard because, right, like we both have had our own experiences, good and bad.
Yeah.
And as a parent, it only makes sense that you don't want your kids to have any of the bad that you had.
Yeah.
So it's like you're trying to walk them through like exactly the way so that they don't experience the bad that you had. But you had said this to me and I forget how you said it, but I interpreted it as just like at the end of the day, like our kids are going to have bad moments in life.
They have to.
We got to just give them the space to allow them to go through it and just be hopeful and prayerful that we did enough. We raised them up in the way that they should be so that God can take care of them.
But when you think about it, like you're an amazing person. And the reason why you're an amazing person, I think I'm pretty great too. The reason why you're an amazing person is because of those hard moments and those good moments. And so it's a balance, right? Because we don't want to shelter them so much. Like we're very careful not to spoil our kids.
Yeah.
Like we're like, okay, you're gonna clean.
Right.
You're gonna clean your room. Oh, cleaners? No, you're gonna clean your room.
Right.
Like you're gonna make sure you clean the kitchen today.
Right.
You're gonna say thank you. You're gonna do
Right.
all these different things, because sometimes in our attempt to give our kids everything, we mold them, we create them into this idea of what life should be. And then we were like, yo, how'd you get this rude? How'd you get this spoiled? How'd you get this privilege? How'd you get this, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's one of the things we want to kind of pay attention to.
Yeah.
I have a question for you though.
Okay.
Like, and I think a lot of moms out there that parents, but I want to highlight the moms for a second.
Okay.
A lot of the moms that are hard workers, that got their own business, they got their own hustle, they are educated, they're doing their thing. They're taking care, whether they're single moms or married moms and stuff like that. I think mommy guilt is a huge thing.
Absolutely.
Feeling the need to be present and do all the things that mommies are supposed to do. And I think you've dealt with mommy guilt. We've had conversations about mommy guilt. So like, what are some things you can share about that and how you deal with that?
Yeah. I mean, mommy guilt is real. It just, you feel, I think as a mom, because you have these little humans who you're responsible for, it feels like, and I know, and I say this all the time, and I know sometimes it's like, it can be problematic, but at a drop of a dime, if my kids aren't good, I'm not going to do anything. So like, for example, if our kids were home sick today, I would be home. Like I had to be like, I'm not even recording this. Like it's done. we're not doing this today. Because for me, it's
she would have shut the whole thing down.
I even told our team, I was like, listen, if these 3 places call their schools, don't cut
you
it.
Stop the recording.
Stop this.
Like,
we
that's
going
what
to,
it
like,
is.
I need to go get my kids. But because for me, it's just like, I'm responsible for these children. I have to make sure that they're good. And anytime that they're not good, for me, it just feels like I chose to have them. Like I chose to have, we chose to have kids. But like, because we made that choice and decision, for me, it's like, they're my responsibility no matter what.
Right.
But because of that mentality, there are moments where if I want to participate in some self-care and I know it inconveniences my kids, I'm not going to do it. So I will choose them over myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's where mommy guilt plays a huge part for people, is just anytime you're doing anything for yourself. If you're on a vacation, if you're taking a trip, if you're going to like a conference, if you're, spending time like away from family, even when everything's all good with them, there's just that guilt that you feel of like, dang, I really should be home. Like I really should be. We had to have
this conversation, because I was like, babe, you gotta like.
And it was hard.
It was hard because we grew up with parents who made sure that like we were in school every single day. We did all these different things. But then the lifestyle that we live right now wasn't the same lifestyle that our parents lived.
Right.
So then I'm like, yo, babe, you need a spa day. Like, it's okay. We need a vacation away from the kids. And based on how our life is, if it's going to be during a school week, we got to figure out when's the vacation week, when's this and when's that. It's like the heart is there, but one of the resolves that we got to as parents that I think it can be really helpful is that if we're not our best selves, we can't be good parents.
Yeah, we can't be good parents.
And so that really helped us
a
lot. It's like, what do we need to be our best selves?
Yeah.
Like, mind, body, and spirit.
Right.
And we need to pursue it.
Right.
Because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't be good to them.
Right.
And we know, like, if you're a parent, when you had a bad day and you coming home and just any little thing that kid does, you magnify it.
Yeah.
You scream a little louder and then you snap and stuff like that, because you are not positioned in your best space.
Yeah.
And so I think the goal is to make sure that we do what we need to do. And for the moms, it's like, man, my dad said this to me the other day, Pastor Matt. He said, listen, Robe, if you as a husband and a father do 5 things, Meima as a mother and a wife does 20. It's like when it's just like, so for the moms out there, it's like, I bring Robin to school. That's the big thing. I commit to that every day. But then who wakes her up? Who does
gets
her
her
hair?
dress? Who
Who gets her dress?
Who makes sure
Who
her
makes
backpack
sure
put
she has
together?
breakfast,
Who's the
hot
school
breakfast
calling when
at
she's
there?
sick?
Who's the school? Who's the first number the school knows to call? If the school calls me, then it's real bad. It's just like, you know what I'm saying? And so for the moms out there, you already do so much.
Yeah,
and
we
for the
do.
dads out there, whether you are with mom or not, like stepping up to give mom some freedom and some time,
Yeah.
it's so important. Like we gotta hold the moms down.
Yeah.
Because like they do 20 things while we do 5. And it's like, and it's the honest truth.
Yeah.
Because moms are wired to see things in their children that we as men do not see.
Yeah.
And so, and because you guys are nurturers, and because you guys, and it's your nature, you guys are taking care of it. And there's so much that you do for our children that goes unseen. And so like, I'm huge on like, if my wife says I need a day, it's like, okay, I got the kids. So then what I do is I call up every family member. We coming over. I call up my mom, my sisters.
Right.
We coming over because Mima's gonna spend the day out and
that's
all
what
that.
and that's what works for you, right? So I think
Right.
so the other part of it too was like, because before in the beginning I used to get like real annoyed when you did that, because I'd be like, you can't take care of your kids, like you don't know how to do that. And for me, I had to learn like it's all about capacities, right? Like there's a reason that like I'm the type of mom that I am, because that's my capacity. There's a reason that you're the type of dad that you are. It's your capacity. And so when I finally got that realization of like, at the end of the day, you're dad and I trust you with your kids.
Right.
You're gonna get the job done. If you're like, I got them, babe, don't worry about it, I'm like, peace out. See you later.
That's it. Because the thing about it is, usually when you do your days, it's like a Saturday. And so for me, my resolve is to be home.
Yeah.
Right? You're the adventurous one. My resolve is to be home or have people come over, watch TV or chill and all that stuff. I can't do that with 3 kids for 12 hours. So it's like, it's easier for me to be like, okay, we're all going to aunties. We're all going to spend time with grandma, and I'll be there, and we're there running around. We'll spend time or we'll go to the park. We'll do stuff like that.
Right.
And so you want to do whatever works for you. But I think it's so important as parents, fathers, it's so important. A good parent helps moms. Like I just think like the parenting unit, the mom is such a glue to all of it.
Yeah.
And we gotta stand behind them and just support them.
Yeah.
And I think that really, once we kind of figured that rhythm out in our marriage and in our family, it really just established a better level of just communication, of fun, of just peace in our home. And I think that's really, really good.
So what's I'll flip it to you. So as a dad, some dads might have daddy guilt for sure.
No, I don't deal with daddy guilt.
I know you don't. You absolutely do not at all. You are like, oh, I'm out. I'm tired. It's getting too much. I'll see you guys later.
I don't deal with that. I love my children. I do.
No, you absolutely do.
All this is for them. But I do not deal with that.
Absolutely. So I would say, as a dad, like, what has, especially given, like, you shared a little bit in previous episodes, like your father passed away when you were little, and you even talked about even today, just in some ways trying to, give your kids what you didn't have growing up. And so just thinking of all of that, what are some, I guess, dad tips that you could share? And it could just be one, for the dads out there who are parents, that can help them as they're navigating fathering children.
My relationship with all 3 of my kids are so different. Robin is like me in personality,
Very much.
but like you in function.
Yes.
And so just navigating that as a father is really interesting. Jamie is a creative. She's like me in function, but she's like you in personality.
Right.
So she functions really sporadically.
Right.
All around. And then RJ's like,
he's still growing in himself.
He's still growing in himself, but RJ is my opposite.
Yeah.
He is a sports kid. He is basketball, football, y'all. Ooh.
And you are
and
not,
I am not
a sports guy.
I am, guys, like.
What's our football team in Boston?
Come on, stop it.
But you're not answering. You're not answering.
That is terrible. Patriots, come on.
I trusted in you,
right,
babe.
right.
Not the
Yeah.
team looking at you like, what?
Listen. No, okay. So one of the things that I've realized is that as a father, they are not who I want them to be.
Yeah.
And I can't force them to be who I want them to be. They are who God has created them to be.
Yeah.
And I have to remove myself and my dreams for them out of the picture to focus on what God has called them to be. That is like, so I got to pick up a basketball with RJ.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, dude, where'd you get this from? Because it sure wasn't me.
Maybe mommy a little bit. Mommy did sports.
Like,
so
I gotta kick a soccer ball. I gotta take him to the park. I gotta do that. I gotta rise up to the occasion to nurture what God has placed within him. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I gotta let Jamie go crazy and go wild and put 17 colors together, even though I'm like, girl, we're going out. What you doing? Like, I have to just let her nurture that.
Yeah.
I gotta back up with Robin.
Yeah.
Like, she's a leader and I can't pressure her too much because she's thinking about everybody else.
Right.
So I can't like rush her too much. Like,
Right.
I can't do that all the time, but because she's thinking about, she's like you in function.
Yeah.
Like today, she's eating a snack. I'm like, we gotta go. She's like, I gotta drink my water. Okay, I gotta get this. I'm like, Robin, we gotta go. Like, so it's almost like I have to see, like, one of the prayers that I've prayed for myself is like, God, and for us, like, help us to be the parent that they need for the way that you've created them.
Yeah.
And so as a father, it's like, I got to remove myself. I got to remove, you know, the way I want them to dress, the way I want them to walk and talk sometimes, the way I want them to function, the school that I might want them to go to.
Right.
So then who God has created them to be, they can fully develop into that. And that's hard because I think that all my ideas are great. Right?
Yeah.
I think that, like, all my ideas are great. And I think that I'm working really hard to give them a much better life.
Right.
And so, and now they want to do certain things and they want to act certain ways that are not necessarily what I had planned for them.
Right.
And so, as a father, that's one of the things that I hold dear is like, okay, God, that's who you created. That's how you created them. Help me to kind of stand with them in that. And that could be difficult.
It is. And again, our kids are still really young. This is going to look different when they're in middle school.
I'm so excited for that.
So I can take high school, middle school, because you know me, I had a real wretched middle school experience. Middle school was not it for me. So that's still gonna be the season of life where I'm gonna be like, oh Jesus, help me. But definitely appreciating, like, really understanding that as they get older and as they grow, that it's gonna challenge us in different ways.
I'm so ready for it though. Like, I can't wait for teenagers. I mean, I've told you this. You know this.
Yeah.
I'm ready for, like, creative punishment. I'm ready for.
You gotta give people context.
Crazy.
You talking about creative punishment? Like, what are you? Remember some type of dad take your door away?
Oh yeah.
And he's like, you slamming doors now. You have no door. How about that?
Jamie was 3 years old, and we told her once the day before to not slam the door. And one time she got in trouble, and she slammed the door, and I was like, okay, so you're going to stand there for 5 minutes. I just need you to open and close the door properly.
And literally was,
I love a creative way of teaching you.
This girl is like,
she's like, Daddy, can I stop now?
He's
Daddy.
like, nope.
I was like, no, you clearly don't know how to close the door properly. So practice makes
perfect or permanent.
Practice makes permanent, as our pastor said.
Yes.
So I'm going to teach you how to permanently close the door. I can't wait to do that. I can't wait to give my 16-year-old a 10-page essay on why she shouldn't be, like, why you don't give your parents attitude. Research, APA style, bibliography, and you better not.
I can't wait to be the favorite parent, y'all. I cannot wait.
You better not be using AI because I can't wait for stuff like that. I just think it's like, I think it's great. And I mean, we've been waiting to do this now. I was thinking the other day, like, we're ready to do this as a family, I think, right now, like family meetings.
Yes. Yeah, you've been saying that.
Tell us how you feel. Tell us what we're doing wrong as parents. Please enlighten us how we can be better parents to you. I just can't wait to have those conversations.
And y'all, please, like, share with us, like, if there's some things that, like, if you agree with Robe, or if you're like, nah, I'm gonna take the more chill highway. Again, we're learning and we're growing in this. So, like, while we're saying, we're excited for it, and there's definitely exciting moments to it, we can't forget there are gonna be moments where we're gonna be like,
we don't know what to do.
This is like
what
insane.
is going on? Like,
so
absolutely,
we have to be ready for it.
That's so good. So to all of our parents, right? Not parents, I should say, but to all of our singles or maybe newly married who are not parents yet, I want to kind of give them some time on this as well, just to be thinking about like what can they be doing now, whether they're single, whether they're in a relationship, engaged, or newly married, and they don't have kids yet. It's like I know, that's a good portion of our audience. I'm thinking about what can they do now to help them in their parenthood. And maybe I should flip the question to say, what do we wish we did before we had kids that could have helped us move along better when we did have kids?
Oh my goodness. Do you know? Because I gotta think about this.
That's good.
Ooh.
Come up with these questions and don't even know the answers.
What it would have been good to know before we became parents? I mean, this is gonna seem so like generic, but it's like it's really important. It's like there's no perfect parent.
Yeah.
And I think that we all grew up with parents, or some of us, we don't grow up with parents. And because of our experience, we have this idea and notion of the type of parent that we're going to be, which most of the time is that it's a good thing, right? It's like, I didn't have my parent in my life, so I'm going to be present in my kid's life. Yeah. It's like, my parents were never around, so I'm going to be around. My parents never spent time with me, I'm going to spend time with my kids. And it's good. But sometimes the way we think that's going to happen doesn't happen that way for life circumstance reasons. And we have to be okay with, at the end of the day, knowing that we did the best that we knew what to do. Yeah. I think sometimes, you can't have this idea that like every day is going to be a great day because I was the best parent ever because I did it all right, or that I did it the way that it's supposed to be done. Right. And so I think in your singleness, or rather, if right now you don't have kids or you're preparing to have children and you're thinking about what can I do to help me, I think mentally what you could think of is just like, I'm going to be a good parent no matter what. Right. Yeah. Like on the good days, I'm going to be a good parent. Yeah. On the bad days, I'm still going to be a good parent. Yeah. It doesn't like, there's no perfect way to parent. Like I'm doing it the way that I know how, and I'm learning and I'm growing from it.
What I would say is prepare yourself. Mm-hmm. So prepare your heart, prepare your mind, prepare your body. Any, childhood trauma or anything that you have, make sure that you are actively seeking healing. Because some people be like, oh, I can't do this until I'm here. Mm. And it's like, no, make sure you're working on yourself, because your kids are going to bring stuff up that you may not even know that was there. So working on yourself and receiving emotional healing and all that stuff is important for you to do, for you to continue to do. It's an ongoing thing. It's not I did it and it's done. Yeah. No, your kids are going to reveal things like throughout their life that you may not even have noticed that you're going to need healing from, right? So that's one part. The other thing that it's so good, singles, please hear me. If you want to be parents, please hear me right now. Take care of your village. Get around people and build relationship with people that you're like, you know what? I want you around my kids. Wow. As a single person right now. Don't just be having the friends that turn up all the time. There are friends that you turn up all the time with, and they're great. Do you want them around your kids? Oh, wow. There are family members that's like you're spending a lot of time with, especially for those of you that are in a relationship, getting ready to be engaged. You're 2-3 years away from your kids. Who are you investing your time in? You ain't call your mama in a year. You know what I'm saying? But then kids gonna come and be like, Mama, can you watch my kids? Like, you want to be like, be smart about how you invest your time in your relationships. You got to think about your future. And so that's one of the things, I'm glad that we did. Yeah. We didn't know we were doing it. I was going to say, we did it unintentionally. Yeah. We invested in the relationship with our parents. We invested in relationship with our siblings. We invested in relationships with our friends who were in the same track as us.
Right.
Like they want to get married around the same time. They want to have kids around the same time. Some of them had kids later. Some of them had kids right when we had kids. But like we were praying for one another and we're invested in one another. And those are the people that like, yo, they babysit our kids.
Yeah.
Those are the people we leave
very
with our kids with when we go on vacation.
Right.
Those are the people who send their kids to us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think it's like as a single person, before you're married right now, invest in the relationships that you are going to allow these people to help you. They are your village. And there are some people that we used to hang out with and we used to have the best of time with that I would never leave my kids with them.
Ooh, I don't know who that is.
If you think hard, you know.
Ooh.
I would not. And they're great friends. They're great people. I have the time of my life with them, but I will not leave my kids with them. And I think, I'm not saying to, kill those relationships. I think it's important, but when you're thinking about parenting, make sure you allocate the right time.
Yeah, because
and
I
the
think,
right investment.
Because I think that when people think about when you think about getting married and you think about having children, for whatever reason, there's this idea and notion that like when you change to those seasons of life, you cut people off.
No,
and it's like sometimes it's a little weird because it's like, well, y'all
no, you don't cut people. You don't need to necessarily cut people off, but there, you do. Your investment changes.
Right.
Yeah. The same level of time and the same level of investment, whatever it is that you used to give to them back then, changed because your priorities have changed.
Yeah, right.
Right. And so that's what happened. So listen, singles out there, folks who want to be parents who are not parents, pay attention to where you're investing your time.
As we're giving these gems and as we're learning and as we're growing as parents, we're just, what is the Pierre way? The Pierre way is...
The Pierre way in parenting is to do it in partnership.
Yeah.
It's to do it in partnership with your spouse if you are married, but also to do it in partnership with your village.
Yeah.
Like you do not want to do it alone.
Yeah.
Man, like I think about my story and how I grew up. Even without my biological parents, it took a village.
Yeah.
It took aunts and uncles.
Yeah.
It took a church.
Yeah.
It took pastors. It took teachers.
Yeah.
There were teachers that stood by me that I will never forget.
Yeah.
All throughout my college years that I call mom. You know what I'm saying? Like I could name you so many, like Miss Jean Conti. Like I could name you so many, like Miss Smiley from
Miss
BC.
Smiley,
Like so many, Virginia. There's so many people that came and kind of like parented. And I think the Pierre way when it comes to parenting is that you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah.
Like right now, we're sharing these gems, but you probably heard us say at least 5 times throughout this whole podcast, let us know what you're doing, because no one is doing it perfectly.
No.
And no one has all the right answers.
And I would add to that is, do what makes you comfortable.
Yeah.
Because, like going back to just many episodes that we talked about with gender roles and different things, it's like at the end of the day, we're doing what works for us, right? This works for us. It works for our now.
So good.
It works for what we have going on. And as our children get older and as life changes and as things shift, as we maybe buy a new house in the future and just all different things, we're going to end up changing those things because it's going to be what works for us.
Absolutely.
So you have to be able to do what's most comfortable for you, and you have to be able to do it and know that it works for your community, your family, your kids. And that at the end of the day, everyone, is feeling good. You don't want to end the night and feel like I am just over it and I'm done. Yeah, there's some days it does feel exhausting.
And strength and wisdom, it comes in numbers, you know, and wisdom is found in the multitude of counsel. So surround yourself with other parents.
You're right.
Surround yourself with other people.
Yes.
That have done this.
Right.
I love hearing from grandmothers. Grandparents, they get around our kids and they just start telling us everything.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it. They tell you what to give them when they get a cold. They tell you how to shower them.
Listen, those natural remedies and all that.
All of these different things. So you don't have to do it alone. And that's the Pierre way when it comes to parenting. Do it in partnership. Do it with one another. Do it with your village. And we believe that the next generation is going to rise and call us blessed.
Yes, absolutely.
They're going to call us blessed because we are being intentional about doing this right.
Yeah.
Listen, we want to hear from you. Send us some questions. Send us some things. We're going to be doing different episodes, and we want to hear your questions, your thoughts, your comments. So be sure to keep the conversation going, all right? Make sure you follow the Pierre Way on Instagram, all social media outlets. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share on YouTube. It's the Pierre Way, and we can't wait to see what y'all have to say, and we can't wait to keep this conversation going. All right, we're gonna be great parents out here.
Yes,
all right, and we're gonna support one another.
That.
We're declaring that if you're a parent, you're a great parent. You watching this, this is good content that's gonna help edify you, and you doing just fine. And if today wasn't good, tomorrow will be better.
Yes,
we love you, family. Have a blessed day.
Hey.
We'll see you next time on the Pierre Way podcast.
Ooh, that
Peace.
was good.
We're going up, we're going forward, doing it every day. The Pierre Way.